Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is my third attempt trying to take this video. I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. Anyway, thought I'd do another video because they seem to do pretty well on the channel when it's actually you get to see my face, because I assume you're all masochists. Anyway, I kind of let you know what's been going on in my personal life, just a little bit, because Sunday my apartment got hit by lightning, and that seemed to mess up my computer and my television, which has put quite a restriction on what I'm actually able to do with my computer. Well, I can't edit videos at all, and any projects I had started might be lost, because currently I can't get everything hooked up to my computer to well, I can't edit anything. I can't do anything musically. I can't. It's definitely slowed things down for me. Then, not having access to the TV hasn't done that much. But that was Sunday, and then on Monday I was in a car accident. I'm all right. The people in the other vehicle are all right. It happened at such a low mileage per hour that the airbags didn't even deploy. But unfortunately, I was called today, and preliminary estimates, my insurance company tells me that my car will be written off as a total loss. The car is 10 years old, and I hate that. I really like that car. Well, I love that car. It was my first car. I have a lot of very fond memories. There's probably been a dozen or more people who've, that I've helped give rides to the card shop, or that I've been to Jacksonville in it. The first month after getting my car, I actually drove to the movie theater just so I could watch a movie. Maybe by myself, but still. I thought it was kind of neat because, I had my own car. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I still have all my memories and my mementos from it, and there's not much else I can do about that. But that's kind of what's been going on with me right now. As far as Magic the Gathering related, I wanted to talk about something called the Hollaway rule. And it was first proposed by my father. He, very, very smart person, very good at mathematics. He's the one who kind of taught me how to put together decks and how to figure out what percentages of what to play in order to build a strategy. And always talked about that mana ratio, making sure it was the correct amount of lands that you'd be able to cast your spells. You'd have 3 lands by turn 3, 40% lands. What had happened was a friend of mine, her name's Addie, Adark on Tumblr. She did the animation for an extra credits video called First Move Advantage. And I was telling my dad about it, and we got to talking about how that works with a lot of different types of games, and I mentioned that Magic the Gathering had been mentioned in it, and we got to talking about how that all worked, and this was at the bakery, actually, where we were working at the time, and I'm very lucky that I have the type of job that's repetitive tasks, where it's we'll do 60 to 80 dozen cupcakes in a day, and I can do that. It's very mindless for me. I just pick it up and pop them out, and it's not difficult. I'm very fast at it too, but it gives me a lot of options for my mind to wander, to think about things, and we can discuss stuff and still get the job done. So we were talking about Commander, and I was talking about how difficult it was in a multiplayer game, that it takes forever to get to your lands, to get everything out, and if you have a bad opening hand and you can't get your hand to get any better, you're going to be sitting and staring at it for 15 minutes before your next turn. And so we got to thinking about how first turn advantage worked in Commander setting, and I kind of baited somebody into asking me about how that worked, because a friend of mine did a turn 2 Armageddon, destroyed 30 lands. So they wanted to know, well, how does that work? How did that happen? So, the way Hollaway rule works is that on your opponent's first turn, if they draw a card, you may draw a card. And if they play a land, you may play a land. And it's only on their turn. So what happens is, in multiplayer, let's say there's six players. One active player and 5 inactive players, so to speak. So this person, even though this could be you or something else, this person is the opponent of these 5 people. So on your first turn, this person's first turn, when they draw a card, in multiplayer they get to draw a card. These 5 get to draw a card. And then when this player plays a land, these 5 get to play a land. And it's just on the first turn, so it'll go from this person to this person to this to this to this to this. And during those first 6 turns, those 6 first turns, each of them will be drawing a card and playing a card, playing a land. And the active player, because it's their turn, they still get access to artifacts, enchantments, creatures, sorceries, because that is a main phase type of an effect. The other ones only get, at best, instants until they get to their actual turn, but they get to play lands and they get a better mana advantage, and they get to see those next cards that they're going to be drawing, rather than waiting. Well, in my experience, this rule actually shaves about half an hour off of each game, at least, and allows players to get a board state going immediately, without any combat, unless somebody had haste, without anything really drastic. And it works best in games which are like 4 to 6 players. I've yet to see a 10-player game go with a Hollaway rule, but maybe someone out there can try it out and let me know. But it really works because, see, the thing is, even though this player gets to have their first turn where they play a land, perhaps a soul ring or a creature or an artifact of any other kind, or an enchantment, even though they didn't get much that they can swing out with, they still have 5 more opportunities to draw 5 more lands, or 5 more cards, and play 5 more lands before their turn 2, for their second turn. And it really speeds up the game. It really allows the player to get their deck fleshed out and going before it's going to, before the really crazy stuff starts happening. Now, in this instance, of course, this meant a friend of mine on their second turn played another land and cast Armageddon, and then scooped, because they like being a jerk sometimes. But again, it really shows you how much more fun the game gets, how it can start off and be a lot more fun. Because otherwise, the player who goes last gets to look at everybody else's board state, where they suddenly have access to lightning bolts and perhaps even just so many ways to kill off anything that they'll play, and it's not fair because anything they do on their first turn, 5 other people have answers for it potentially, and again, it's not very fun. Not in multiplayer, which is why Holloway rule was made. Yeah. Now the person in the middle, where it's the person who doesn't go first but doesn't go last, like, will have like 2 or 3 lands on their first turn. That's noticeably very, very powerful, and that's why the deck has to be done a certain way. And that's why the game has to be played a certain way. But obviously combo players, I've been told, can gain quite an advantage from this. But honestly, if they were going to do something on their 3rd or 4th turn, then that's their 3rd or 4th turn. They were going to win anyway. At the very least, we've sped up the game by at least half an hour. And then you might say, okay, you won. Play a different deck. There you go. And that's Holloway rule. On your opponent's first turn, when they draw a card, you get to play a card. And when they play a land, when they draw a card, you get to draw a card. When they play a land, you get to play a land. This means cards like Ancestral Recall. They draw 3 cards. Well, you can draw up to 3 cards. If they play Exploration, that means they play a land, and then they play an extra land. You get to play 2. That's how that works. Again, this kind of helps stop that first turn advantage deck from getting way too much of an advantage. And I feel comfortable talking about it on YouTube, and maybe more people can try it out and let me know what their results are. But yeah, it's a very fun take on multiplayer Commander, and I hope more people can try it out. And comment down below your experiences with Holloway rule. And yeah, I think I'm gonna call it there. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, a wonderful afternoon, or a wonderful evening, and I hope tomorrow's even better. Take care, everybody.